Morning people, Cav here. It is Thursday the 4th of September. We are doing well, doing really well. Got back in the UK yesterday, been in Europe with family, sorting some bits over the past week or two. But back in the saddle as of yesterday, really nice. You know, it's like when you're kind of working from just a small laptop screen, sat in a hotel chair, not quite the same as when you're perched up in your saddle. Nothing like the saddle, really nothing like it. So it is good to be back, feeling good. I feel like I have a pretty clear read on things as things stand. And yeah, it's been a minute since we talked. So I guess probably worthwhile just like updating, any changes since we last sort of set our high time frame views out. And I think the last commentary we did was the 14th of August, which was the day of the top on BTC, the multi-week top. We called multi-week into multi-month top. We are now sat at about 100, 111, 110.5. So yeah, we had a pretty strong and persistent downtrend, cracking pretty key levels of local support. 117 got smoked straight down and into kind of 107, 108. Didn't really give bulls a chance to de-risk. Didn't really, it was quite persistent. No real sort of retracements. It was strong. Anyway, things don't go in one direction forever, as we all know, and the market decided to find a local low at 108, which was the basically the start of the break up in the summer offensive breakout. So we basically retraced that whole move. So where are we now? What do I see? What do I expect? Well, the base case of the top being in for Q3 remains, right? We've just got September left now, and that still stands. I do think ETH dominance top is in. I am bearish ETH BTC here. For the foreseeable, definitely Q3. We have to reassess sort of towards the end of September, but that still remains. So that idea has played. I mean, ETH BTC's somewhat been down since we discussed. BTC's been down since we discussed. Gold, quickly touch on that. I'll come back to BTC. I just want to start high level. Gold, seems we're wrong. We have had a pretty convincing breakout. Got to watch it, right? Like, we're 2 days into the breakout. So yeah, let's see. For now, invalidated on the idea of a breakdown from this compression. So yeah, let's watch that. Super strong move, like GG to the gold bulls. That is your real sort of flight to safety. We like to say Bitcoin sound money, but arguably more of a liquidity sponge than money at this stage. One, the shiny rock is doing what the shiny rock has done for a long period of time throughout history. So yeah, GG's to the gold bulls. Good shit. We were wrong on that one. And the other point that we made was MicroStrategy, bearish MicroStrategy with respect to BTC. And yeah, we haven't had any progress, or Bitcoin, MicroStrategy has not made any progress with respect to BTC since that. So we have been sort of right on that, but that's like it's a macro view. I'm not like going, with like low time frame swings. It's not about that. It's like, I think Bitcoin has bottomed with respect to MicroStrategy. And for now that is playing. We do have the S&P inclusion potentially as a catalyst or lack thereof for strategy in the coming week. Kind of, some see it as a big event, some not so much. So we'll have to see what happens there. We'll have to see what happens on the S&P inclusion. I mean, it's a big load of flows instantly that he'll be able to tap the ATM into. And then obviously kind of gets that narrative and reflexive wheel going, because that nav has been compressing over time, and you know, we have to see how that plays out. So yeah, not got a view on there as, you know, pertaining to the inclusion, but we do have a view of how MicroStrategy performs with respect to BTC over the coming sort of months into the end of the year and next. Just to dial down now into the lower timeframes, obviously I made quite clear the point that I expect, you know, somewhat a violent move, a flush on positioning, a flush on open interest, and, you know, a penetration of the psychology of the bull side of the trade. What did we have? Well, we had a slow, gradual staircase down, right? And it didn't end by an elevator into the low, right? We stair-stepped down, found a floor, right? And we've since then stair-stepped up. But, you know, let's say we took 20 steps down, we've took about 2 or 3 up. And it seems anecdotally that there's appetite to get long here. Makes sense. I see it, but like, well, I could see why somebody would want to take long exposure. We've come sort of into a high time frame support, like a macro SR, big supply and demand area, right? You can be relatively confident here that if you found the low, that there's gonna be a bounce from this zone. However, for me, when I'm thinking about these things, I'm looking to play the trend. I like to play the meat of the trend, right? And like, it doesn't seem apparent to me that this is the low, capital letters THE, right? This is a low, but not the low, in my opinion. So, you know, as somebody that's been short from up highs, we caught it on BTC, we got 123,600 on 14th of August. Sunday night, we got it at 4,933 on the 24th of August. You know, realized the BTC into the sort of 112 area, 114 to 112. ETH, you know, has largely been covered at this point. It still remains short ETH BTC. You know, so I'm not like looking to like reshort and try and squeeze the fucking juice out of things down here, but like, I don't think, right, we've had the fear, we've had the capitulation, we've had the forced selling, right, and the leverage unwind that I would expect after a low volatility summer, right, that when we go, because we've seen it in 2023, 2024, you know, we're starting to see these dynamics more converge with TradFi. And if you go and look at open interest on Bitcoin, from April of 2023 to I think it's August the 14th, maybe the 17th, I think it is, in 23, right, you see a slow and steady staircase up in open interest, right? Low volatility environment, leverage building. What happens? Come into the end of summer, realize volatility starts to rise, you get some sort of tweak, right? And then open interest got smoked, and we got that sort of aggressive downside move on Bitcoin. You wouldn't want to have been long into it. It was sharp, nasty, but then once we'd had the flush, that was the base in which price could find stability, right? And you had a big flush on positioning, which was positive, right, for the Q4 rally that we got. What happened in 2024, right? We had a lot of OI building from April, mid-April into the end of July, staircase up, no real unwind, and then you get Yen-mageddon on April the 4th, on August the 4th, August the 5th, right? It smokes OI go, you fucking bottom, you have a big flush on leverage, and it resets the pain for the Q4 rally. Right, and I'm now looking at a very similar dynamic where if you just look at open interest in isolation, I'm not even talking about Sol and ETH, right, which, you know, they have their own dynamics going on. I can maybe talk to them, but like not right now, because I want to focus on BTC. So, you know, what have we had since April this year? We've had a slow and steady grind up in open interest with no material flushes. We haven't had any downside volatility. All right, Total 3's not had a 15% day downside, wick high to wick low within the space of 3 days. That hasn't happened all cycle, really. Since we got going in 2023, pretty much. We're at 152 days since that's happened now. The last time before that was December the 6th, December the 9th, I think, or... Anyway, besides the point, right? We haven't had any sharp, aggressive, capitulatory move since the April low. And it makes sense, right? We've had a really, low volatility environment. Move index has been trending lower. The VIX has been getting compressed. It's been super nice to take risk. It's been super nice to take risk. But now we have to question, are there things under the surface, right? Do we have Mag 7 at all-time highs? Do we have NVIDIA looking semi-vulnerable at all-time highs? NVIDIA's 9% of the index, bigger than most stock markets, right? And when NVIDIA's corrected, even in this bull market over the past 2 years, we've had 10, 15% corrections. They've not been nice. So, with AI, the AI trade, it's not quite as the juice doesn't taste quite as good as before. It's quite expensive, relatively. Mag 7 concentration is a thing. So I'm not fucking bearish. I'm just saying there are mini catalysts that could move, volatility to the upside. And when you've not had a flush on positioning for a long period of time, which is not normal for crypto to go long periods of time without any sort of volatility. It's kind of what makes it crypto. So, that's why I just don't think that was the low the other day. So it's all right, cool. Yeah, we could get a bounce. We could go to 112. We could go to 115. We could go to 117. But boy, the higher we go and the higher and more aggressive we fall back to create a new low is going to be scary. Because not only have you got everybody that's bought this dip, you've got everybody, the short-term holders that have been buying at an average of 109k over the past 6 months. Well, 155 days to be exact. You've got everybody, you've got a lot of coins where their cost basis is really getting tested for the first time, right, since the April low. And what I'd love to do is I'd love to take part on the buy side of the trade when we've got forced selling, aggressive forced selling, an open interest unwind, a flush on positioning, right? And I'd love to come in and just swing the bat then. But I'm not here fucking itching to swing the bat at 110k. The macro looks fine, whatever, it's okay. It's not oh my God, I don't know, I don't see it as Goldilocks. Yeah, we're getting cuts priced in. Yeah, the dollar's dropping, but another thing on the dollar is it's been 4 months now of sideways price action somewhat. We've had a lot of bearish dollar catalysts, news, narrative, everything in between, and checks notes, the dollar is still where it's at. So this is either a period of distribution again after a sort of leg lower and then we go again, or it's well, maybe some structural things under the surface that are stopping the dollar from heading too much lower. I'm not going to go on and ramble about the Europause. Us Europeans that are in a bit of a fucking sticky situ, that's for another day. But the dollar's okay, credit spreads are tightening, although the rate at which they're tightening is not accelerating, it's decelerating. The second derivative is important to me. So that's another thing where I think BTC is chopping. So it just, I don't know, I'd love to just see a bit of downside volatility. I'd love to see a bit of fear, not everyone's sort of comfortably stepping in and, I mean, when gold's doing what it's doing, it's almost a bit take note. And not as if saying to go and take risk on BTC, almost some things ain't quite right here. So look, that's where I'm at. That's a bit of an update from my side. We're doing well. We're doing really, really well. Life's good, life's fucking good. Very grateful. Very, very grateful. So anyway, that's 15 minutes of Cav talking shit. Hope everyone else is doing well. If you're not, you know, always reach out. I'm sure I can spare a minute. But, you know, that's Cav. Ciao for now.